Hey guys, Kyle the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my late night review for One Piece episode 942. So, obviously picking up where the last episode left off, we see the Straw Hats pretty much engaging Orochi's forces in combat, and in typical Toei fashion, you can very easily tell that they used that as an excuse to add onto the episode, and normally that would be very distracting and very just kind of, okay, can we move it along? But at least when it comes to whenever an episode expands on combat scenes. But here, I think it works because I feel it not only emphasizes the dynamics of what the Straw Hats are capable of when they fight together, but in another way, I feel by expanding on this beginning portion of the episode, it specifically and strangely added a touch more nuance to the whole idea that Kyoshiro is definitely playing a role, and how it exposes the irony in the sense of knowing there's one person on each side of this conflict that's basically wears a mask to hide who they actually are, but are being exposed more and more through the actions of the Straw Hats. In the case of Kyoshiro and the mask he wears, you can tell it's one to hide is his convictions, and it's the convictions he holds towards one, well, pretty much towards Wano, and and as an added thing, just to pretty much knowing everything that we've seen of Kyoshiro up to this point, as well as as well as through Hiyori herself, like witnessing the battle between Zoro and Kyoshiro. All this very much speaks volumes about Kyoshiro's character, who Kyoshiro is very much on display, and in just some ways his true self is being exposed just in this fight alone. Like it may not seem like he's very much like he's really doing anything out of the ordinary, but if you really look at how if you really look at a lot of what at a lot of what at a lot of what he said, even a lot of what he said in this episode, like he basically said he's pretty much the pretty much Shogun's dog. He openly admit that, yeah, he's the Shogun's dog, but take notice of the fact that he never said he's Orochi's dog. He's just the Shogun's dog. So that in itself, it speaks volumes about Kyoshiro. Um, but right now he's just wearing a mask in order to hide his convictions and whatnot. Um, I also like how this episode really emphasized that Zoro's honor had refused to let Orochi go unpunished for killing Yasui, even if he knew the problems it would cause for the crew. He couldn't let Yasui's death go without leaving some kind of a mark to let Orochi know that he should be looking over his shoulder much more from this point on. Like Orochi needed a wake up call and a reason in order to fear the Straw Hats, and pretty much even though he never like managed to kill Orochi, Zoro's just attempt alone, it basically sent a message to Orochi that, yeah, you should be looking over your shoulder a lot more from this point on, motherfucker. Don't ever let your guard down. Which, yeah, with considering how paranoid Orochi is, though, you definitely know that's gonna light a bit of a fire under the ass and under his ass and make things a little bit more complicated too. So from that end, it did make the situation a little more complicated for the crew, but it also did make him like kind of more afraid now though. Now I will admit there, even though I did like a lot of what was added onto this episode, I will admit there were added bits here and there where here I will admit there were added bits that were a little bit more sloppy. Like right out of the gate, I will admit it did expand. Where it did expand a little unnecessarily was the whole bit like before the other Straw Hats jumped in with just Sanji and Zoro deflecting gunfire. I will admit that got a little old, but at the same time they didn't really focus on it too much, so I'm thankful for that. Um, of course, that's not, of course, all that aside, that's not even the big reveal. That's not even the big thing with this episode. The big thing with this episode came in the reveal that kid, that when we cut back to the prison mine, and we not only learn that kid got recaptured, but that Kamazo was also brought to the prison mine with him, and it's revealed to us that Kamazo's true identity is Killer. And knowing that plus what we've learned about the Smile Fruits, now it suddenly adds a whole new level of tragic implications of what happened here, where the hell is, and where the hell are the rest of Kid's crew. Now, I will say, knowing that what I know about what actually happened to Kid's crew is kind of an underwhelming part about this reveal. However, you can still tell that what haunts Killer the most underneath that smile is his failure to protect his fellow crewmates. And the price he paid for that failure was a permanent smile and his emotions stripped away like the rest of Wano. Like, what really is telling about this reveal is that you can tell it really all came down to a single choice that basically had created the whole this tragedy of Killer's character. and and honestly, the best part about this reveal is it's one where even though as viewers we don't know the exact details. I mean, I do because I've read the manga, but even though we don't know the exact details of what happened yet to Kid's crew, neither do we really need to know either, because just looking at Killer in his current state pretty much tells the whole story in itself. Without needing like a single flashback. Like this, what just looking at Killer and knowing what we know, it tells the whole story in itself without needing like a flashback or a backstory. Like just visual storytelling on display with Killer right now, and I kind of like it for that. Either way though, you can tell Kid's pissed, and first chance he gets, he's gonna go on a rampage. Like he's just gonna wreck motherfuckers left, and he's gonna go on a rampage. He's gonna wreck like Kaido's whole crew, Orochi's all the samurai that's from Orochi. He's gonna go on an unbiased fucking rampage against everyone who did this to Killer. And so yeah. With that said though, art and animation, let's talk art and animation, because it was actually pretty good this week. But I will admit, it did have the usual problems of keeping characters on model 100%. And normally I wouldn't bring that up for how much of a usual problem it is, but it was a little bit more jarring here simply because of the slight improvement in animation quality, and how that didn't really mix well with the off-model characters. And it actually caused the off models to stand out more. But one area where art and animation stood out in a good way in this episode for me is where it got very stylistic with how it showed the profiles of the Straw Hats, even before they attacked. But by basically giving us these very traditional Japanese backdrops behind each character, and it was one of those very stylistic choices that I don't think the manga ever did, that I kind of liked. For as flashy as it was, it was a nice image just to see the profiles of the Straw Hats, like from behind these classic Japanese backdrops, like just to show off that their intimidating presence even before they attacked. So in that sense, it was a very good, it was a very nice it was a very nice change from the manga. Honest. It's a very nice, like, added addition compared to the manga, honestly. Now, we also get the official name of Drake's devil fruit in this chapter, Dragon Fruit, the Allosaurus model. And looking back, it's a tiny, almost inconsequential detail to talk about. But looking at the way the dinosaur models are categorized does make me wonder why the hell that they were even given, why the hell that they were never given the lizard model. Because depending on the species that is, dinosaurs really are just overgrown lizards. So it doesn't make sense really to give the model name of the fruit dragon fruit. But unless Oda thought when writing it out that lizard just didn't sound intimidating enough, so he labeled them the dragon model instead. Which, yeah, if that's the case, I can understand, but I don't know. It's just kind of a weird. Looking at it, it's just kind of a weird thing, I guess, that the dinosaurs are labeled dragons. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but yeah. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Crunchyroll. That Night of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.